Hi, tonight we are reading from Front Desk by Kelly Yang, Chapter 34. Chapter 34 begins on page 146. That night I sat at the stairwell in the back thinking of something my uncle once said. He said that if you break a bowl, you can put all the pieces back together, but it will never be the same. Water will seep through the cracks. That's what it felt like when my mom called me a bike. Like our bowl shattered and we'd never be whole again. Mrs. Q spotted me sitting on the stairwell and came over and sat down next to me. She asked me what was wrong. I shook my head. I didn't know how to tell her the worries swirling in my head. 1, my mom was horrible and mean. 2, she hated me. And 3, what she said was true. At the thought of number 3, the tears welled in my eyes again. Mrs. Q pulled me into her arms. Between sobs, she got it out of me what happened. "Oh, honey," she said, rubbing my back. "Sometimes adults say stupid things they don't mean." I rubbed my nose. "But she does mean it. She totally means it." I thought of all the times my mom had said my English was not as good as the white kids, and I cried even harder. My tears stained Mrs. Q's lovely new shirt, and Mrs. Q glanced down at the wet spot. "I'm sorry," I said. "It's okay," she said, smoothing out her shirt. "Nothing that can't be fixed with a good wash." She smiled at me, "Just like you and your mom." "No way," I said, shaking my head. I looked at Mrs. Q with the utmost resolve. "The bowl is broken. There's no one breaking it." "Easy now," Mrs. Q said. She put her hand over my hand. "I don't know about any bowls, but I do know your mom, and she loves you very much." There was a lump in my throat. Mrs. Q raised her soft blue eyes to my wet brown ones. "You know that, don't you?" she asked. "Then why is she always saying such mean things?" I asked. Mrs. Q thought about this for a while. "I don't know," she finally said. "Your mom's been working a lot lately. She's probably tired, stressed out. Heck, maybe this isn't even about you. Maybe this is about her. Maybe people have told her her English isn't good." I thought about that couple a while back who asked my mom to take a picture of them with their camera. "Still doesn't make it okay what she said," I said, sniffling. "Of course not," she said. "It's a horrible thing to say." "Of course it is." "Even if the bowl's completely not broken, it's severely cracked," I told her. Mrs. Q chuckled. "Well, you'll just have to put some tape around it," she said. A tiny smile escaped. I hugged Mrs. Q and thanked her. I was starting to feel a little bit better about number 1 and number 2 on my list, but not number 3. Number 3 I carried with me into my sleep, dreaming about the essay contest and how I could possibly win. How I could possibly win if I was only a bike. That Sunday, my dad fought my mother for the chance to take me out. As usual, we loaded up the car with empty cans. We went to the recycling center, and then after that, instead of exchanging for pennies and going to the lake, my dad made an unexpected turn into a shopping center. My dad hates shopping. What was going on? Where are we going? I asked him. "You'll see," he said, getting out of the car. He pressed open the door of a stationery shop. The store was called Scribbles, and I could tell it was fancy just from the way it smelled. It smelled like expensive air fresheners, the kind I always wanted to get for our front office, but couldn't because it was way too expensive. Row upon row of pencils adorned the shelves. I picked one up and nearly fainted when I saw the price. $5.99. I tugged on my dad's elbow. "Let's go home," I said. "Just a second," he said. Before I could even realize what was happening, he took one of the $5.99 pencils and told the cashier to ring it up. "Dad, what are you doing?" I asked. He ignored me and handed the cashier $6, the entirety of our recycling money that day. I watched the whole thing unfold with my mouth open. Outside the shop, my dad kneeled down so that he was at my level. "You are not a bicycle, he said. My eyes searched his. Do you understand? He asked. He reached down, took my small hand, and opened it. He put the new, expensive pencil in it. I gazed down at the pencil, its shiny green sparkles glistening in the light. I couldn't believe my eyes that something so beautiful could sit in my hands. Dad, this is way too nice, I said, giving him a hug. I'm never even going to use it. I'm just going to look at it. My dad laughed. Oh, I hope you use it. You're a fine story writer, he said. I shook my head. Not in English, I said in a small voice. In English, too, he insisted. I've read your English. I wanted to chuckle because how would he know? If my English was 12 exclamation marks bad, his had to be at least 50. Still, his words made me feel warm and toasty, and I tucked them into my pocket. Use this to write down everything that happens, he said. Who knows, maybe someday it'll all seem funny to you. Maybe. I nodded and smiled, holding my brand new pencil up to the sun. And that's the end of chapter 34.